surely hope that wouldn't happen here.
I trust your guys as chefs that you guys have here. Now, where do you guys get your ingredients from to make all of these dishes?
We do try to source locally, so we work with a couple local farms, Gwen and Hill being one of them. We get a lot of our fruits and vegetables from them. And then we get eggs from Three Brothers or Prairie Gold out in Waukesha. Both of those farms, we actually took the students on a big bus this semester, and we took them out to those farms so that they could see where the food was being grown, meet the farmers. And then we also grow a lot of our own food here. We have a rooftop garden over by the T building in the downtown campus where we grow all of our own herbs, and a hydroponic tower where we grow lettuce.
Very cool. So in a way, it's also a little bit of self-sustainability here in your guys' kitchen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I saw you guys also have what looks to be some raw fish here. I'm not a huge fan of seafood, but what do you guys have on your menu, and how do you guys come up with those menus?
Yeah, so the menus are really student-driven. So if there's a certain cuisine that the students are really into, we try to use that as influence. Also, what's in season. So sometimes the produce dictates the menu. We'll get the beets in or the squash in based off availability in the season, and then we'll write the menus based off those.
Makes sense. Now, let's say that I'm a very hungry customer and I want to get a seat at your guys' table. How would I go about doing that?
Well, we are the hottest seat in town at the moment, so we are booked through all of the fall semester.
Gotcha.
But come spring, you can make a reservation at matc.edu/cuisine.
All right, well, you heard the chef. Nick, I think I got to talk with Chef Cassidy about making a reservation here at this place. Chef, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And back to you in the studio, Nick.
Hello, my name is Niltag, and today I'm here at the TCAM campus to report and investigate allegations of cheating in last week's pool tournament. Joining me today is an employee of that tournament who has agreed to do an in-person interview. Hopefully they'll help us get to the bottom of the so-called pool cheater. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. Today I am joined by Haras Diug. Haras, how do you today?
I'm fine, thank you for asking.
I wanted to know, what exactly was your involvement with the pool tournament?
Well, I was the floor manager, so basically what I do is just supervise, set everything up properly, and keep a lookout for any suspicious activity.
So what exactly led to these allegations being spread?
Well, there was this leaked phone call.
Interesting. Here's that leaked audio.
Hello? Yes?
Hey, it's me, Erdna.
What? I'm tired, man. What are you calling me for?
I wanted to talk about the game. What happened? All heated towards the end.
Yeah, that's usually how tournaments work. It gets competitive towards the end. Are you drunk?
The balls went all misaligned, and you lost.
I'm feeling tired is what I'm feeling. Did you just call me to make fun of me?
No, I just wanted to let you know. I had to repolish my floorboards.
Are you serious right now?
I thought we were buds.
Okay, if we are, then tell me, did you do anything to the pool balls?
Hold on, wait. There's someone staring at me from my window. Oh wait, that's me. I'm looking in the mirror.
Why do I always get the weirdos calling me?
I also gather all the pool balls to make sure none of them are missing, but I noticed that some of them had a slightly slippery feel to them, but that could be from multiple factors.
Interesting. Most interesting. Well, Haras, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. Do I get paid yet? Oh, the check comes in the mail.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Did Erdna cheat? Did he alter the pool balls that made Nair lose the game? With no conclusive answer, that's for you to decide. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Alleged Investigations. Did we get it? Good? Yeah?
A football player gets blindsided by a linebacker. Bad weather causes a car to lose control and crash. Or maybe it's just as simple as a slip and a fall. No matter how you get injured, it's important to get the right help so that you can get back on your feet and back to your life. Every year, students in the Physical Therapist's Assistant Program at MATC take the charge to learn what they can do to help.
The program really is about becoming a movement expert. We want to be viewed, we want the physical therapy profession to be viewed as the people who are the experts in movement. So when people out in society have problems with movement of any sort, we are going to be those individuals that they should seek to help them return to their previous activities and movements.
That's Holly Pitts. She's the clinical coordinator and one of only 2 instructors in the program. She makes sure that students have the knowledge and experiences they need to guarantee their success.
What's nice about our program is that our students aren't in lecture for long periods of time. We're always kind of bouncing back and forth between lecture and lab type activities, which keeps our students interested and not falling asleep. Besides the facilities that we have here, our students go out on 3 clinical rotations where they're actually out in hospitals and outpatient clinics, schools, nursing homes, going to people's homes and providing physical therapy there.
That hands-on experience provided by the Physical Therapist Assistant Program is critical to students, such as Abby Holman.
Well, we do a lot of hands-on work. You know, it's exercises, stretches, and that things like that. So we do them ourselves with our classmates so that we understand how to teach them to other people. So yeah, but now I really have a good grasp and I feel like confident that when I get out into the workforce, I'll be able to do what I need to do.
Between the fantastic facilities, valuable experiences, and strong community present in the PTA program, it's not hard to understand why these students look like they wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
So my favorite part about teaching this program is just seeing the progress. It's really fun because we teach the students for the full 2 years. We establish relationships with them and they come in knowing nothing about exercise or rehabilitation of patients, and they leave being able to practice out in a clinic or hospital setting.
Hey fans, football season is in full swing, and for today's 120-yard treat, I'll be preparing a salsa verde burger. A salsa verde burger is a little twist on your typical game day eat that combines some Tex-Mex ingredients and toppings with the classic cheeseburger dish that we all know and love. And today I will be using Beyond Meat for my burger today and green salsa, but you can also go with the old USDA ground beef if that's your style as well. For our ingredients, I've gathered some tomatoes, burger buns, salsa verde, Dijon mustard, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, my bad, Beyond Meat, queso fresco, and if you want to, you could add cilantro to your burger as well. And you, of course, need a hot pan and a spatula and a plate to place your finished product on. First, I'm going to sear my burger. My burger is already cooked, but I'm just gonna give it a nice crust on both sides. Turn my heat up. And while my burger is cooking, I'm going to slice up my lettuce. You just wanna shred your lettuce, because this isn't like your typical burger. This is more of like a Hispanic-like burger, so, or what they say, a Tex-Mex burger. And I already sliced my tomatoes. You're gonna wanna dice your tomatoes as well. You don't wanna like slice everything too thick because you don't want all the ingredients to overpower like the burger itself. Just gonna flip it. Okay. And for my onions, I don't know if you can see, but I sliced my onions thinly sliced because onions are very overwhelming and you don't want those to overpower your dish as well. Beyond Meat also tastes amazing. It still has the same color as regular meat, and it doesn't have all the bad things in them, not cancer causing and all that. Now I'm just gonna add some seasonings. If you wanna add seasonings, you can, but right now I don't really wanna add seasonings to my stuff. I added it beforehand. Now let's assemble the burger. So first I'm going to top it off with some Dijon, a nice generous amount. We're gonna go in with some lettuce. I like lettuce, so I'm gonna add a generous amount. Some red onions. My tomatoes. I like it when my burgers are hefty, so, but you can add as much as you'd like. Okay, now that my patty has a nice crust on it, I'm just gonna place it on, plap. Then top it off with some salsa verde. You can get your salsa verde anywhere. I got mine from my local Metro Market, but they also have very good salsa verde at Sir Max. You're just gonna top it off with some cilantro as well. And lastly, some queso fresco. Flip. Ooh, looks yummy. And there you have it, a salsa verde burger. It's like the advanced burger. Thank you for tuning into today's cooking. Oh my goodness. And happy game day. Go Pack Go. Back to you in the studio.
And this is another Jam KE. McKinley Beach in Milwaukee, Wisconsin began as a natural formation in late 1800 due to a breakwater, but was officially constructed in 1989 as a pocket beach for recreation. After a series of dangerous conditions led to its closure in 2020, the beach was renovated and reopened in 2024 by adding sand and regrading the area to address safety hazards that was caused by increased water depths. McKinley Beach serves to not only provide a recreational resource along the lake, but also functions as a buffer between Lake Michigan and Lincoln Memorial Drive. Since its construction, the beach has experienced changing lake levels and site conditions. McKinley Beach is open to the public. The location makes it accessible. Even during winter, people still visit. Hello guys, this is Dagri Osiris, student producer, and this was your JMKE.
I have been teaching this for now almost more than 20 years, and I have enjoyed it because I think I am doing a very important job of creating environmental guardians for future. Because the students, the graduates from the program, they would in one or the other way contribute to saving environment and working towards community health and environmental health. So we look into some phytoplanktons, we look into some periphytons, so we look into different algae samples. Apart from that, during fall, we work with aquatic plants. So students learn how to identify between aquatic plants and presence of those aquatic plants, what they indicate about the water quality. We look at the macroinvertebrates, the bugs and the critters that we find in our fresh waters, and apart from that, we identify fishes. All these are biological indicators that help us in assessing the water quality. We are getting hands-on lab skills. They are learning how to assess environmental health conditions, be it on field or in lab, how to apply the learned skills when they are at job. Prepping up labs, because some of our graduates, they go into lab jobs and then sometimes they are working all by themselves. So how to follow the instructions, how to prep up the labs, they're learning all those skills. So yep, we are learning plenty of skills, sample collection, sample analysis, and then data analysis. So yep.
For me, being a student in the Environmental Health and Water Quality Technology program it's really great. I've always really been interested in science. I've always really been interested in how the world works and how we as human beings affect it. And using this program, using the knowledge that they're giving me here, that's really what I get to learn. I get to learn how I can help change the world.
It's something that it's a meaningful process that I want to go through. I really enjoy it, learning stuff that really I'm getting into, that I want to in my field. What I want to learn personally though is kind of how humans have impacted the environment and how we could go about reversing that.
It's great here because MATC provides me with support that I need. I have a good team to work with. They are very supportive. And I'm not just teaching, I'm learning every day working here. So I enjoy every day of my job here.
People talk about it all the time. I started doing it because I felt like the job wasn't actually a job. That was something that was really fun for me, is waking up every single day and not dreading it, right? And that you hear those horror stories all the time that people just do a 9-to-5 job just to do a 9-to-5 job. And for me, it's so much more because you get to help mold and create these young athletes into being better people, hopefully, outside of their 2 to 4 years in college. And so that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I started coaching, was just because you get to help touch so many lives and help those young athletes have a little bit more sense of purpose and have a little bit more sense of direction to help them set up for hopefully really bright futures outside of here to continue to help just everyone in life day in and day out. Right, so we've had guys who have gone on to go be all-region players. We've had some guys win Gold Glove. We've had an All-American even, which is being the best player at your position in the whole entire country. And so for us, it's not always just about the wins and losses on the field though. Me being in charge of the academics, I think some of the biggest wins that you can get is your graduation rate. Or your rate of guys and girls getting to move on and continue to play in their sport outside of here. And so last year we had roughly 95% of our athletes either graduate or move on to go to a four-year institution to continue their career. And that's something that's really, really nice to take home with you, and knowing that you're not only helping them on the field, but the amount of help that we're able to do for them off the field to set them up to have a bright future. I think sometimes those awards are just as nice. But of course, at the end of the day, I want to win a national championship. That's why we're here, that's what we're trying to do. But we're also trying to create great young men and young women for society outside of here as well.
Coach Bounds helps to shape these students into not only mean machines on the field, but into well-rounded, successful students off the field. The athletic department supports those students and the bright future that's ahead of them.
I love what I do. I don't think I would do it any other way. I just don't know of a job that I would really want to do or that I would enjoy or like as much as I like this one. So yeah, I think if I did it over 100 times, I would be being a college baseball coach.
Thanks, Nick. As I mentioned earlier, we're here at the MATC bookstore, and today I have one of the bookstore employees with me, Gerald Schwager. Gerald, how's it going today?
Good. About yourself, Max?
Doing very good. Thank you so much for inviting us in here. And now, as an employee of the bookstore, can you explain to me a little bit about what you guys do here and what services you provide?
Sure. So we're going to be your stop for all your textbook, kit, and supply needs. You can order your textbooks online at bookstore.matc.edu or come down to the bookstore and we'll help you in person. If you come in person, you'll walk up to this blue table here, and we're going to ask you for your class schedule.
Yep.
You'll show us that. Also bring your student ID for checkout. Here we have English 195.
Yep.
And we also have Math 107. These are two of the most common courses that students take when they first start with us.
Makes sense. And do you guys do used books here, or is it all new ones?
It's a great question. So some of our books do come used, but not all of them. They are also the first to leave the shelf. So if you want to get a used book, come earlier in the semester when we start.
Makes sense. And then do you guys take the books back when we're done with them, when I don't need them anymore?
I'm glad you brought that up. So hang on to your receipt, because there'll be a printed date on there to get a full refund if you decide that you don't need your book.
Yep.
Otherwise, we offer book buyback at the end of each semester, where you can bring your books and sell them for cash.
Very cool. And MATC is a technical school, so we may need more than just the textbooks. Do you guys offer supplies for those classes that need more than that?
We sure do. So we have different kits and supplies available. So for our nail program, we have our nail kits here. Our culinary and baking program utilizes uniforms as well as supplies as well. So here we have our knife kit for our culinary students.
Very cool.
We have our culinary uniform here, the scale that goes along with it. We also offer the hats and jackets as well as pants. For our architecture students, we have our drafting kits here. And we also have our dental lab kits for our dental lab students.
Very cool. So basically what you're telling me is that I can get everything I need no matter which class I'm in.
That's right, absolutely.
All right, and let's say I need some more basic supplies than specific ones for the courses. Can I get those here at the bookstore as well?
You sure can. So we have a variety of different supplies to pick from. We have calculators there in the corner. We have our binders here. One of your books needs a binder.
Yep.
We have our quick study guides here. Anatomy flashcards for our anatomy students. Well, we also have headphones, notebooks, water bottles, lanyards, pens, pencils, Post-it notes, erasers, you name it, we got it.
Basically everything you can need, right? I saw back there you have like even locks for the lockers. I also saw that in here you guys have a bunch of MATC swag. What other items do you guys have here besides just these sweaters?
Yeah, so we are incorporating our new logo on all of our new merchandise, and we have all different things to pick from. We've got beanie hats, we've got bags, we have blankets, we have our windbreakers, t-shirts, quarter zips, something for everybody here.
Very nice. See, you got blankets over here. It is getting to be that time of the year after all. I also see that over here you guys have some little teddy bears for graduation. This would make a great gift for those upcoming graduates.
Oh, it sure would, Max.
And I saw when I got in here that you guys have a bunch of boxes over here on these tables with a bunch of black clothing in them. Can you kind of explain why these are all over here?
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought this up. So we have our cap and gown distribution starting on December 1st through the 12th. Students need to apply for graduation first.
Yep.
Once they come down, they're going to show us their student ID, and we're going to check them off the list. Once they're checked off the list, we're going to hook them up with a cap and a gown here. And get them ready for graduation.
Very cool. I think we're getting ready for graduation. What time of the day can students come down to the store?
Absolutely. So we start selling textbooks on January 6th. We're going to be open Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. And then Fridays we're open from 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m.
All right. Well, Gerald, thank you very much. I think I got some studying to do, so I'm going to put this on. I'm going to get started on that. And Nick, back to you guys in the studio.
Hello everyone, it is wonderful to be here with you today. For today's recipe, we are going to travel to Huancayo, Peru. In the highlands of this ancestral country, we will find papa a la huancaina. The dish became popular in the 19th century during the construction of the Central Railway in the city of Huancayo. Women would bring papa a la huancaina to their husbands working on the construction. For our ingredients, I've gathered ají amarillo, boiled eggs and olives for garnish, garlic paste, evaporated milk, olive oil, crackers, potatoes, and salt and pepper to taste. Be sure to have a blender to mix in all of your ingredients. And you're going to want to start by boiling your potatoes until they're soft. And once they're soft, you're just going to want to set those aside. Ají amarillo is one of the most iconic peppers in Peruvian cuisine. This bright and yellow pepper has a nice texture, and it's often used in pastes and sauces, or it's even fresh. And it's a key element in giving Peruvian food its signature taste. Queso fresco is a nice staple in Peruvian cuisine. It's known for its mild flavor and creamy texture. And once your cheese is cut, we're just going to sit it in a bowl and bring everything in the blender. Ooh, that was hard. So in a blender, we're going to add in our ají amarillo paste. Our garlic paste, you don't have to add garlic paste, but I'm going to in this recipe. Evaporated milk, olive oil, about 5 to 6 crackers, and salt and pepper to taste. Okay, now that everything is blended together, I'm just going to quickly cut our potatoes. You just want to make sure that the potatoes are cut somewhat thick so that it has like a nice chew to it. Okay, and you can also, for your sauce, you can adjust it if it's too thick, if you want to add milk, so-and-so. And once everything is done, we're going to garnish it with boiled eggs and olive oil as a garnish. And we're going to arrange the potatoes on top and generously pour our huancaina sauce over them. And for our finished product, I have to say that this papa a la huancaina turned out delicious. Just the right balance of creaminess and spice. You can enjoy it as a delicious appetizer. Thank you for joining us.
Achieving not only their high academic goals, but striving to make life better for the community. While students are busy making time for friends, family, and work, when exactly do they have time for themselves? And how does one discover something that helps them unwind, relax, and reset to start the next day on the right foot?
I'm really into like jewelry making, so a lot of stuff with beads and wires and just crafting, whether it be like earrings or keychains or necklaces or anything like that. I don't know, I like throwing together designs and making the jewelry, whether it be with wire. It's very therapeutic to me. It helps me just kind of get lost. Like I can turn on a good like YouTube video or something and just make it, because it's a lot of like bending and just kind of hooking together, and then it honestly just helps time like go by. And I like, most of all, I like figuring out the designs. I like laying out the different beads or like looking up what to make and just stuff like that. It just helps me unwind. The earrings are like one of the first things I made. That's why I got into this hobby, is because I had wanted longer, kind of more extravagant earrings, because my hair is kind of longer, so that's why I got into it. But that's probably my favorite one I made. Although I would say my absolute favorite is I made like a bracelet for a friend that was just, it felt like really like intricate, and it just, I was really happy that it came out.
And if working with small beads isn't your style, here's an alternative.
My hobby is a little broad. It's just felt work, felt making. I typically work with like craft store felt and a lot of sewing supplies. Sometimes I'll implement aspects of like clay work into it, but usually it's just using the felt. Felt making makes me feel more relaxed. It's a nice release outside of the pretty heavy course load I have, but because of that, I don't really get a lot of time to do it, which sucks. The reason I went into felt making and like tried it out, I should say, is because my grandma was really good at like sewing and crocheting, and that's a little too hands-on for me. So I tried like the easier version. Felt making is the easier version of like sewing and crochet, and I really liked it, and I feel like it's a nice way for me and her to connect, because I can still ask her about it with like the sewing aspects. She has like 5 sewing machines. So it's a nice bonding time between me and her too. My favorite piece that I've made so far was a little pudding thing. I think it's really cute. I took inspiration from a picture that I found online, so I can't take full credit for the design, but I changed aspects of it, and I like the way that I made it look more. I think it's cuter than the original.
Confused and don't know where to start? Here's some advice from these crafty crafters.
Honestly, if it piques your interest like at all, just do it, go for it.
Just pull around and ask people around them what they're into. Maybe someone that you're close to has something that they really like doing, and it's something that you might like doing, and if not, even then you get to know them better.
Hello, I'm student producer Aiden West here at Leon's Frozen Custard, and this is another hidden Gem KE. When people think of Wisconsin, one of the first things that come to mind might be frozen custard. Leon's Frozen Custard has been hiding under our noses for over 80 years.
Leon's was created in 1942 with one goal in mind: to serve custard to the people of Milwaukee. But that's not all they serve. With malts, shakes, and a soda fountain, you'll always have something to keep you cool in the hot weather this summer. Just in case a few scoops of frozen custard weren't enough, they also have a limited sandwich menu to choose from as well.
Leon's is located on the corner of West Oklahoma Ave and South 27th Street, where it has been run by the same family since its founding in 1942.
Although the building has changed since its creation in 1942, the classically styled drive-up diner still remains a staple here in the community.
I'm student producer Aiden West, and this has been another delicious Hidden Gem KE.
The semester is coming to an end, and students are preparing for break and graduation. It's been a busy few months, but many have balanced school, responsibilities, and the passions that keep them going. Here on campus, students continue to make meaningful memories through creativity, events, and community. This is another Student Passion Report showcasing a student here at MATC who creates memories of confidence, self-expression, and growth with her own apparel clothing line.
I got into this hobby for crafting in 2020 when COVID happened. There wasn't a lot of things to do, so I watched TikTok, YouTube videos, and I just started getting interested in just crafting. I honestly enjoyed doing it just because for mental health and relaxation, it gives me a peace of mind just to get away from everything. During the school year, obviously everyone's stressed out, especially during midterms and during finals. So when I find myself just really studying a lot or just feeling like I want to give up on school or just want to stop studying it altogether, I mean, I just kind of set time for myself each day or each weekend to do craft where my mind is just completely blank from school and just being able to focus on the things I enjoy, I love. I mean, I love making different apparel for different groups and like knowing that like they're wearing that stuff and or just even if they're not wearing it, they're seeing it in their closet and like seeing those memories when they did wear it with their group. Me and my mother actually started this brand, well, this idea about 2 years ago, and then we actually put it into effect last year. Our brand is called Simple Souls. It started with me. I'm really big into mental health. I really like wearing different apparels that resonate with me, and I know like talking with my friends or families, like they like to wear different clothing items as well that has a meaning on it. So. One advice I would give to students if they ever felt burnt out, I mean, crafting isn't for everyone, but just finding a hobby or something they enjoy where their mind can go completely blank and just being able just to focus on that one thing, even if it's for 30 minutes. I mean, sometimes I'm only able to get 30 minutes in a day or just that week, and honestly, that brings joy to me.
When school and life gets busy, it helps to be creative in your own way. Do what you love and let it show. Life is about finding your passion, and once you find it, go after it. This has been another Student Passion Report.
Thanks, Nick. As I mentioned earlier, we're here at the MATC Mequon campus's greenhouse, and today I have Lauren Reckinger with me. Lauren, how's it going today?
Good. Thanks for visiting, Max.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us here. Now, can you tell us what you do here at the greenhouse?
Yeah, I'm like the unofficial greenhouse manager, so I keep this in tip-top shape and running, and I make sure the plants are alive and the bugs aren't eating them.
Obviously, that's an important job. And now, what are some of the people, or who are some of the people that you work with here?
Yeah, so a lot of the students end up doing a lot of the propagation as part of like their learning experience, but we also have student volunteers and student workers helping out in the greenhouse.
Very cool. And now, I see behind us you guys have some what almost looks like, you know, little leaves here in the ground. Can you kind of explain to us what's going on back here?
Yeah, so these are snake plants. Snake plants are really interesting because you don't need a full leaf to propagate it. And the students in Intro to Hort are taking different hormones and they're trying to see which hormone helps the plant root.
Very cool.
The best. That one's not rooting. So yeah.
And then I see over here we also have what looks like octopus tentacles coming out of the ground here. What are these all about over here?
That's a spider plant. We've got a student who is interested in seeing how the spider plant that they have at home propagates.
Okay.
So they did it in soil and they also did it in water, which is really interesting. And it's only been 2 weeks, but it's already rooting.
Very cool. And is that a usual timetable for those kind of plants?
I think for spider plants, but all the other plants, like they all have different timelines for growing.
Very cool. Now, what are some of the other tools that you guys work with here in the greenhouse?
Yeah, so this greenhouse is really high tech. We've got misting benches that are automated. We just have to learn how to use them properly depending on what plant we've got growing there. We've got drip lines that we can hook up to the different pots. And all of our vents and stuff are controlled by a really high-tech program.
Very cool. And now, what are some of the other plants that you guys grow here? I saw over here we have one of my favorite flowers, the marigolds. But what else do you guys grow here in the greenhouse?
Yeah, we grow whatever we can get our hands on. Coleus is a really popular one. This is easy to propagate. A grower donated these begonias to us.
Beautiful.
An instructor had this plant at home. It's an anthurium. And these guys take 3 years to flower, so that should be really interesting to see. And then we've also got like various herbs we like to propagate, such as this guy. I'm sure you know what this is, Max.
Yes, I love rosemary. Rosemary is one of the absolute best smelling plants. Just literally the only one that beats this one is oregano, but I digress.
Yes.
Now, obviously, as we came into this the second portion of the greenhouse here, we saw all of these wonderful plants, but I see back here that you guys have what looks to be like a lot of the same plant. Can you kind of explain what's going on here in the back?
Yeah, so we've kind of got a tradition where every year we grow poinsettias for Christmas time. And this year we've got 7 different types. Poinsettias are really cool because they're a great opportunity for students to learn how to grow a very fussy plant. So in greenhouse production, they get to observe all the differences, like this one doesn't need as many nutrients as, say, the white ones there. And yeah, just learn about poinsettias, and then hopefully we get to sell them at the end of the year.
Very cool. Now, can you tell us a little bit about this sale? I've heard about it a little bit, but where can people go to buy some of these plants, and when is that happening?
Yeah, we're going to have the plant sale here on campus, and the students are putting together the timeline for that. We're looking at the first week of December, but we'll make sure everybody knows. So there will be posters around and everything. So
very cool. Well, you heard her, obviously. Thank you, Lauren, for having us here today. We really appreciate your time. And Nick, back to you in the studio.
Nature's beauty reveals itself in so many forms, from bright, endless skies that lift your spirit to calming blue waters that seem to wash away every worry. It's in the winding trails built for walking, biking, and simply taking it all in, where the rustle of leaves and the rhythm of your own footsteps remind you to slow down. And when the day fades, the night sky takes over, vast, quiet, and full of stars that remind us of how small we are in the most beautiful way.
I believe that God created everything, and it's crazy how like every single leaf is like different from the next one, and like even looking at a tree or something, like you see all the little details in the bark, and it's crazy how like not one single tree is like the same as the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and there's all these different types of trees, and there's different types of flowers, and even like the rocks, like who put all those rocks there, you know what I mean? So yeah, even just like looking in the little details, I think it's really cool to look and just see how things are different from each other. And really just how intentional God was when he put everything together, making it not just like similar or like boring. Like, no, it's a very vibrant and like awesome earth that we live on, where things are like exciting, and you can look at different stuff and be like, wow, this is different from before.
My responsibility is to stop throwing stuff out the window and stop smoking in the bad air, because that can make bad air for real. And yeah, our also responsibility is to make sure we dispose everything into the right trash can instead of putting in recycled trash and recycle. So yeah, that is our responsibility when it comes to nature.
Their reflections challenge us to look beyond the moment, to think about the generations that will one day walk the same trails, swim in the same waters, and gaze at the same stars. Nature gives freely, asking only that we care enough to preserve it, because in the end, protecting the earth isn't just about saving trees or oceans. It's about saving the balance, peace, and beauty that make life worth living.
Alicia, one of Santa's elves on Letters to Santa, but also an MATC student producer here at Milwaukee PBS. Being integrated into 10 and 36 professional productions is what makes our college experience so unique. Imagine learning and working here. After 2 years at MATC, TV employers know they're getting the most qualified graduates anywhere. Interested in how to start your path in professional video production and storytelling? Email or call. The information's on the screen.
Hey dudes and dudettes, are you looking for a killer way to spend your day, whether you're on your own or with your friends? From exploring a local thrift store, creating some timeless crafts, to exploring a local skate park with some pretty radical history. Stick around and take a totally tubular trip back in time to one of the most gnarly decades in human history. Don't be an airhead, join us for this special, the Vintage Milwaukee, an 80s way to spend the day.
This should be played at high volume. Preferably in a residential area.
From timeless wares like mom jeans and crop tops to catchphrases like yikes and cowabunga, the 80s has become huge in culture yet again, inspiring shows like Stranger Things and artists like Dua Lipa. Yet as often as parents might make the joke, I was wearing that at your age, do we really realize how often trends get recycled? What's up? I'm your host, Licht, and come along with me as I take a trip around Milwaukee, hitting up killer locations that really put an emphasis on experiencing the culture of the 80s, as well as putting a definition to some of the trends that we see yet again today. Let's hit the road with our first stop. I visited a local thrift store to see where you can get the most gnarly attire to fit the retro vibe, and also to get the opportunity to compare fashion trends from present to past, reminding us that even though the years were different, we may have more in common with the past than we thought. With many of the subcultures we dress for today finding their footing in the 80s, go to any old thrift shop and there's no doubt you'll find something that'll fit you and your crew. As a matter of fact, with the changing economy, the U.S. secondhand apparel market grew by 14% in 2024, the strongest annual growth since 2021, according to a report done by ThriftUp. From trendy tees to eccentric earrings, thrift stores are known to carry some exceptional items, with the only exception being that they're secondhand. But that isn't scaring shoppers away. Here to speak about their experience as a thrift shop owner are Michelle Eigenberger and Liz Kessling, co-owners of Bandit MKE, a small shop located on the east side of Milwaukee.
So I've been collecting vintage really since I was in high school. Sort of just a fun thing to do, instead of hanging out at the mall, my friends and I would hang out at the thrift store. And it was just I had a closet full of stuff that was never gonna fit me. And so I kind of progressed into selling at markets and selling at shows. And then I would say COVID summer, Liz and I were just kind of we don't have jobs, we don't have anything to do, and we're maybe we should just start selling vintage in your backyard.
We always went to different vintage shows and things like that,
My grandparents, had a lot of antiques. In high school, I wore vintage, and it just was a collecting thing.
The number one question we got from people was, where's your store? And we're like, maybe we should have a store. And then we literally just looked at this one place and signed the lease, and now here we are, 4.5 years later.
We sell a lot of our dresses. We have a large variety, things varying from the 1940s to present day or modern, and they're just a style for everybody.
We're really starting to get into the time period where Y2K is like the it vintage, and that blows my mind because that's literally just me in college, really, just like wearing, jeans under skirts, and I think about all the stuff that I had, and it's like, why didn't I hang on to it? And that's the same stuff my mom would tell me, like, in the 90s when I was trying to wear 70s stuff. It was like, Michelle, this is rubbish. Like, why are you wearing this? I wore this. So we see a lot of Y2K. We see a lot of people looking for Y2K. Through the store, we get a lot of, like, denim and jeans because, like, who doesn't have a pair of jeans? And, like, the more worn in, the better. And then obviously t-shirts are just ubiquitous. They're everywhere. Everybody has a t-shirt collection. And there's ones you kind of want to rotate. So honestly, we get people in here from every age, which is probably one of the coolest parts about it. Like, we'll see kids who need to be dropped off because they can't even drive yet. And then we'll see them, like, also come in with their grandmas, which is super cool. And we get a lot of, people, retirees and older folks who are like, hey, this lived a life, and now I want to pass it on.
It's necessary in this day and age. There's enough clothes in the world already. It's destructive to the environment making new clothes. They're boring, they fall apart. Why not go vintage?
As you find yourself looking around the small but unique space, you can't help but find yourself drawn in to the vintage technology and adverts that surround the walls, really helping to inspire that 80s feeling and look you're going for.
I was in interior design before we did this. The look is just like my childhood. My childhood was the 80s and early 90s, so these colors, specifically the neon pink and green, the purple and teal, that was on all of our toys, that was in all of our clothes, and it's just kind of throwback to the good times.
So we've got a great story about the mannequin heads that we have behind our counter. We acquired them from another vintage collector right when we started the store. Did a little bit of research, and they're actually Twiggy Star Eye heads from a department store in London called Biba. Was like the go-to place in the 70s for like your mod, your regular clothing, obviously. And Biba is the store where Freddie Mercury met his wife, Mary Austin. So it's kind of cool to have that little piece of history from, across the pond, just in our little vintage shop.
We also decided to ask our fashion experts what they'd recommend for a classic 80s look.
Honestly, I would probably go for a dress. So when we're looking for a femme look, I feel like you can really nail it with the right cut and the right kind of style, like a little off the shoulder moment, or like a basque waist where it kind of comes to a point in the middle.
Stonewashed jeans, windbreakers, anything neon colors, early 90s, late 80s sort of things. A good multicolored pattern sweater is a nice 80s look.
Thrift stores are a reflection of the trends that go in and out of style in a city. They're unique locations that reflect a personality that you won't find anywhere else. So the next time you decide to go shopping, don't rule out that secondhand shop. You never know what gnarly threads await you inside. Now that you look the part, killer threads and all, no matter the store, shop, or mall, let's add some handmade touches to your fit. Friendship bracelets became a fad in the 80s, so much so that by the end of the decade, Saved by the Bell parodied the trend, featuring an episode where the main characters made a business selling friendship bracelets outside of school. Now let's go to the craft corner and get those hands busy making a friendship bracelet so colorful, you won't have to worry about losing your bestie at the mall. Here in the craft corner, I'll be showing you how to go about making your friendship bracelets. Now grab a friend or two and let's get started. All you're gonna need for this is thread to make the bracelets, scissors to cut the string, tape to stick the working bracelet to a hard surface, and said hard surface so that it's easier to tie those knots. So let's hop to it. Since I will be teaching you how to braid a friendship bracelet first, I'm going to pick 3 colors. You will too. grab 2 strings for each color that you choose. I'm going to pick red and pink and orange for these. Once you have all 6 of your strings together, you're going to line them up, get them nice and snug together, and you're going to tie them around your finger. Make sure you get all 6 of those strings through a loop that you make to tie your first knot. And make sure you leave space above the top of your knot for threads you'll need to tie to the end of your bracelet at the end of making it. You're going to tape it down, keep it nice and secure on the table, and then you're going to separate your threads by color. So you'll have 2 red, or whatever color, on the left, 2 in the middle, and 2 on the right. To start, you're going to grab your 2 strings on the left, and you're going to move them to the middle. Next, you're going to grab your 2 strings on the right, and you're going to move those to the middle. Then you'll grab your 2 strings on the left and move those to the middle. Then you'll grab your 2 strings on the right and move those to the middle. Are you seeing a pattern here? The longer you do this, the beautiful and more lengthy your bracelet will become. And eventually, you'll have something that you can stick right on your bestie's wrist. Now, when you've made a bracelet that is longer than this, you are going to finish it off by tying the exact same knot that you tied at the start of making this bracelet, getting all 6 of those strings through your knot here. There you go, take your time with it. And you might have a lot of leftover string, but what you're gonna do is grab your trusty pair of scissors and cut off the excess string so that the length matches the length at the threads at the top. And once you are done with that, you will have your very own friendship bracelet. Oh, this is just the demo version. What it will actually look like is something a lot more like this. Beautiful and braided and ready to put on all of your friends' wrists. Now, once you've mastered that, there are a million other ways to make friendship bracelets, so I'm gonna teach you another way, which is knotting. For this is a very similar setup to the braid, although you can use any number of colors and any number of strings. But for the sake of showing you this, I'm going to show you with 2 colors and 2 strings of each color. So we have a lovely magenta and a beautiful deep purple here. Just like the braided bracelet, we're going to get all of our strings together, all 4 of them this time. We're going to tie them into a knot around my finger here. Once that is done, make sure you leave excess at the top as well. Tape that bad boy back down into place so that it's nice and secure. And then you're also going to separate your strings by color. But making a knotted bracelet is more like a dance. See, there will be one color that stays straight. This is the follow. And this is the lead. Now the lead loves making the number 4. So what you do is once you make a 4 with the lead, you grab a string, pull it through that loop up and to the left, and there you go. The lead, who loves the number 4, is the color that appears on your bracelet. So if you want to keep making magenta, you want to have a very magenta bracelet, keep pulling through with magenta as the lead. But if you're getting sick of that, switch it up. Time to change partners. The lead is now the purple. The follow is going to be the magenta, who will stay still. So take your lead, make another 4, grab that tail end and bring it through that loop, up and to the left, and a knot is made. And you can repeat this in any type of pattern you want. What's nice about these knotted bracelets is that you don't have to stick to the uniformity of the braided bracelets, but once you finish with this, it's just like it was at the beginning. You grab that string and tie it on through to make another knot. Beautiful. And hopefully you do more than I made, unless your friend's wrist is the size of a baby's toe. You will have a friendship bracelet. Although, once it's finished, it will look something more like this if you use 3 colors here. Nice and beautiful. And that is going to wrap it up for this craft corner. Now that you've discovered a new way to add some color to you and your friends' fits, go out there and make your own. Come up with your own bracelet patterns too, once these get too boring for you. And speaking of never too boring, skateboarding. It's been around in the public eye since the 70s, though it didn't really hit the mainstream until the 80s with the help of magazines. It was during this decade that it started to become a lifestyle with the help of people like Tony Hawk. We hold a piece of that history here in Greenfield, where our final stop is the totally tubular skate park, the Turf. The turf, from featuring Tony Hawk in its heyday, has had many rough patches since. It closed twice before in the 80s and 90s before it opened up yet again this past summer to tears and excitement from the skating community. Come along with me as I interview Pete and Bob, seasoned turf veterans who share their stories about this historic location. Driving south out of Milwaukee near the off-ramps, you may have noticed a rather interesting sign. And no, it's not an ad for a new evening show, restaurant, or store. As a matter of fact, it's the location for a new old skate park in Milwaukee, the Turf in Greenfield. This skate park has been around since the 70s, opening and closing following interest in the skating fad.
Coming here for the first time, like we didn't ride or anything, we just kind of looked it over, and it was like, you just like, as a little kid, it's still like that, where you're like, heart gets going and you got butterflies and you're like, oh my God. There was music playing, I remember, it was like the Cars, Candy-O, fluorescent, like Glow-Tech pads, Powell Peralta, big cubic wheels. The whole thing was just so overwhelming as a kid. It was immediate hook. And from there, I would just pester my mom like every weekend to, you know, bring me out here, and slowly but surely, you know, I figured it out, made friends on this side of town at the skate park, like some of the best friends of my life. You know, we're still friends 40-some years later.
With the park catching attention from people all over, it was a surprise when the park closed its doors.
When we closed in '83, we tried to do everything we could to stay open. Jerry took on every job possible to try to make money, keep us going. That was heartbreak.
And a comfort when it reopened again.
But in '87, I was living out in Madison, working out there, and I got a letter in the mail, a clipping from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, some chicken scratch handwriting on it that said, "Thought you'd like to see this." And it was a picture of somebody doing a frontside grind in the face pool in the triple pool. And no return address, so I had no idea who it was. That was Thursday night. Friday night, I drove back, the park had reopened. Everybody that had, you know, kind of all scattered to the wind in '83 when it closed was all back here. You know, all the guys that I grew up with skating that had all either headed to California or wherever were all back here. That was huge.
Like the real powerful moments were when it reopened in the 80s, because we had maintained contact with the former owner Jerry and his brother Ray, and they let us know, like, hey, we're opening the park. And it was a core group of us, and I got a call from my buddy Weeze, and he's like, hey man, they're opening the park again. And I'm like, okay, and I came back, I got a job working the check-in, and we didn't leave like the Turf Mile area for over a year. Just this was our life.
As the effort brought many people home, it also created a strong sense of community yet again.
The city, when the mayor actually had gone through and reached out to Grindline and had them come in just to give a feasibility study whether, you know, this would be something that was possible. They had a meeting down at Pulaski High School, and that's kind of when I got involved. And then after that, every meeting that they had, you know, came in to talk about, you know, what were the plans, what are we going to be able to do, what won't we be able to do.
I was part of the Turf Council where the mayor had, you know, I don't know, maybe 15 of us or so. They had meetings for years coming up. Before they even had, the DOT had even passed the land over to the city of Greenfield. Yeah, it was a long, long, tedious time of meetings and promises and, you know, like figuring things out. Once Grindline was involved, it happened pretty fast.
The mayor of Greenfield just absolutely went to bat forever and repeatedly to make it happen. And then everybody, like I said, everybody else that just tirelessly, the Save the Turf Foundation, fundraising efforts, people banging on doors, you name it, it happened, and we're here.
And the whole, like bringing it back last summer and spring, it's been so emotional for all of us, like wildest fantasy come true. It's just, you know, I mean, it's the first time it's ever been done, really, like bringing back a skate park. Here, when the excavators were digging it out, And yeah, I had tears in my eyes. It was just unbelievable.
This community of skaters has been through thick and thin, and advice they have for new skaters:
you know, it takes time, and don't give up. That's all. It's super fun. Get aboard and go.
The group of people in the background that started initially trying to bring the park back, just the same example of work hard enough, work long enough, and you can make it happen.
Seeing all of that hard work pay off in a new and improved skate park really is commendable. Talk about an unfoldable community. And speaking of unfoldable, to pass the time without modern technology, lots of kids turned to folding up pieces of homework or notebook paper to pass the time in the 80s. What were they making? Cootie catchers, of course, otherwise known as fortune tellers. For those who couldn't afford the magic 8-ball of the time, this was king. Let's head back to the craft corner and revisit this classic origami craft. This time in the craft corner, I'm going to show you how to make a fortune teller. Now, all you're going to need for this is a piece of paper. Any piece of paper will do, a writing utensil like a marker or a pencil, and a hard surface to fold on, and some scissors if your paper isn't already square. Now let's hop to it. Start off with, let's grab our paper, and let's take one corner and fold it up to meet the top of the other side of the paper. Now take your time getting these nice and smooth, nice and crisp fold lines here are exactly what we want. You'll see we have this rectangle here. We don't need that actually. We're gonna cut that right off. We're not gonna use it anymore, so instead of wasting it, you could make another craft, make a bookmark or something. So if you're not much for reading, maybe give it to your mother. Lord knows you should call her. All right, there we go. Now that we have one crease here, we are going to take the corner where the crease already is and fold it up to the opposite end. Once that is nice and smooth, we will open this paper back up and we will see an X right here. It's exactly what we want. We want more of these triangles, so let's take our corners and fold them into the middle. And that way, this will create 4 more triangles. And you'll see here after I fold this, there might be a little slit in between where I made my folds. That's a-okay, as long as the corners are as close to the middle as possible. Those slits there aren't that important. Don't worry about that. Just try your best not to overlap any of these top points when you're making your folds. And when you finish with that, you will have a nice mini square. You're gonna flip that over, and on this side, you're gonna do the exact same thing. You're gonna fold all of your corners in to the middle. Take your time making them nice and smooth, like I was saying. And it's after this step where you can finally start to get nice and creative. After you fold number 3 and number 4. So you will have an even smaller square right here. Get those folds down. What you're gonna do is flip your paper back over, and if you have colors, if you have colored pencils, markers, what you're gonna do is color a different color on top of each square here. Now, if you only have one utensil, that is too bad for you. You're just gonna write numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 on here. But since I am tubular and radical, I've got colors, and I'm gonna make this a gnarly craft. And hopefully you spent a little more time making this beautiful, but just to show you what to do, I'm getting these colors on here. Now that you've got your colors, you're gonna flip your paper back over to these flaps, and this is where you get to keep being creative. With either a marker or a different pencil, you are going to start to label these flaps up here. You can see a little slit here, and even though it looks like there's only 4, the slit is what splits them up into 8. You are going to number each triangle here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Once you're done with that, you will fold your flaps up, and this is where you're gonna write all 8 of your fortunes. Now you can make your fortunes have good luck, bad luck, phenomenal luck. You go to the pit. Oh, that's a cow a bummer. But oh, what's this? $1 million jackpot, baby. That's radical. Now, I'm not gonna make the other 6 fortunes. That's up to you, because if I made them, you would die laughing, and you need to be alive to finish up this tutorial. So we're gonna continue on by folding up everywhere that you can possibly fold on your fortune teller. fold vertically and horizontally. Really get all of that movement going so that your fortune teller is nice and mobile by the time it comes to use it. Once you think you've got some good enough creases there, look at all of the colors that you've got here. You can see that there's a diagonal crease on top of each of them. You're going to try to pronounce those because this is where your fingers are going to go. Once you've pronounced all of your creases enough, you're going to stick your fingers in, and voila, your very own fortune teller. You can pass the time in the back of class by playing it with your friends. That's going to wrap it up for this craft corner, so let's head back to home base so we can finish this up. Now, in reality, what do these have in mind other than the fact that they all share a passion in representing the culture of the 80s and are great spots to check out on your 80s themed day? Well, they also represent a pattern in how trends move. Fashion already moves in a 20 to 30-year cycle, meaning that trends that defined a generation when they were children inevitably return when that generation is at the helm of culture. We are remixing it and making it our own, but it's also important to learn where these ideas came from, not only as a form of respect, but to learn from it and not repeat those fashion disasters of shoulder pads on everything, please. The 80s were perhaps a simpler time, so there's no surprise that during times of uncertainty, we want to be closer to what is simpler or more comfortable to us. But that doesn't mean we have to become our parents again. Take on old trends in a way that is uniquely you. I've been your gnarly host, Lou Licht, and thank you for coming along on this trip through the 80s. Stay bad to the bone and hang 10.